There we go. Thank you for listening to Interview with DJ Nocturna. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment. My guests, I got three. I got three guys on online, and they are a trio band. They're called On. I've got Steve Fall, who's a guitarist for the band, Lucy De Santo, who is the vocalist and the bass player, and Dan in the back, Dan Cornelius, who plays drums.
Hello.
Welcome, guys. Thank you for joining me on the show. Always, I like meeting different people, and I like finding out what's going on and wherever they are. And I know you guys are all I know two of you are in the same place in Toronto. And then Dan, you're in New Jersey, but you're all together now because you're gonna start your tour, right, in a few days.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
Wow, it must be exciting.
It is. It's nice to have everybody together, because we do live in different places, and normally under normal circumstances, you could just fly somewhere and write some music and rehearse and go out and play some shows. But with everything that's happened the past 2.5 years, we never want to take anything for granted. There was a lift in the weather, so to speak, to come in and plan the tour now, and everything we did finish the record, and we thought, why don't we get in and start getting some shows together in Ontario and get ourselves back and then keep building from here. So yeah, we're pretty excited.
So the band is called On, O-N. So tell us about that, because I'm sure the first thing people would say, what does that mean?
Sure. Yeah, it's a good question, actually. In previous bands, we had Lucy would sort of like our previous band, Acid Test. Lucy, we want to talk with that for a second, how you found that?
Well, I was very inspired by I liked 60s psychedelic music and Tom.
Oh, yeah.
Wolfe. Yeah.
Like the Doors, stuff like that.
Exactly. The Doors, the Animals, Cream.
Yeah, me too.
Hendrix stuff. That was like the first things I learned how to play when I picked up bass guitar. Like, I want to learn all these 60s songs. So I was just enthralled with that whole era, because I wasn't in it maybe. And it seemed really creative. So I was into literature as well of that period, which Tom Wolfe kind of wrote a whole book encompassing the whole feel of that era, that psychedelic era, called Electric Kool-Aid Acid Test. And I just thought, wow, that's a cool name for a band, Acid Test. And so that was the first band Steve and I were in, was called Acid Test.
Yeah, and so just to pick up from there, so when we had that and we did our run with that, and we took a break from that, we started writing some music again. Lucy goes, I just want something fresh, because our previous band had a lot of technology. It had had a lot of
There were 5 members.
There were 5 members, a lot of technology, a lot of keyboards. There was a DJ. There was a lot of sampling, along with the live presentation of the band. She goes, I just want a fresh new start. I just want to get out there, and I want to get out there and play with guitars again. I want to put together a new band. I just want to be on. I just want to be ready. And I said, on. So she's like, I just want it to be to the point. So, tuned in.
One syllable.
She goes, I just want to be tuned in,
It's kind of like there's a term now that people use about when you're actually in tune with things.
That's right.
And that's called.
I like on it.
Pardon?
Like you guys are on it.
A term that's floating around now is woke. I don't know if people have heard that. Like, if you're woke, you're like, okay, you're in tune with what's going on. So I look at the name On similar. It's like we are, kind of in tune, or on the pulse, or on. Yeah. And also the simplicity of it. I needed to get away from all the extravaganza stuff. We had, as Steve mentioned, a lot going on.
A lot of production.
I wanted simplified sound in this.
And I guess at this, and we originally had the band on a while ago, in the late 90s, after we had a run with Acid. And Dan was pretty much with us, original member. Yeah. So we kind of found each other, and then we splintered off into different groups, and then sort of came back. And when we came back with all of this prior to the pandemic, we just, we'd all have been in our selective groups. We had our other lifestyles. I've been recording music and teaching music online, and Dan's been doing some film work. Lucy has been doing things, but we decided to get back together. We thought we'd just write some music. And so, Dan said, why don't you come down and come down to New York City I have an apartment in the city, and I also have a place out in New Jersey, so we can just get together and do some writing. I said, sure. So
This is pre-COVID,
yeah,
no problem to get
yeah.
anywhere.
So so when we get into the writing of it, it was always like, okay, well, this is what On is. It's the three of us. So that's what the band's going to be if we ever lift this thing off to become a group. So, but I'm to get back to the name, to pull it back. I think with everything that's happening right now with the world, I just think that the way everything is shifting, I think it's time for a refreshing new sound of just like, I mean, just get back to simplicity. I mean, the whole world seems to be scattered. It seems to be fragmenting. It seems to be eating at itself. We've got pandemics, and we've got weather patterns and weather changes. We've got uncertainty and an economy, and different people fighting with each other. We've got wars. It's insane. So I thought, you know, at this point, putting a band like On back together with putting a band out there that has something to say, but in a simplistic kind of way, to say, bringing it back. Like, even for me personally, I play guitar. I want to hear guitar music again. I want to hear loud, heavy guitars when I turn on a radio station, or I see some kind of something online. There's so much thought and so much careful planning, even with music now. It's so simple for people to get music on Spotify or whatever, but they're missing the point. Sometimes it's just about being in a band and going to see them live, and just buying something to support it. And I thought that, you know, we're as a group, we're a little bit angry. So, I mean, I think we just want to get back to basics. I think I think the name kind of makes sense for that.
So I know you have like some tracks here that I know you released one, which is called Underdog, right?
Yeah.
And I know you have 10, and they're not released yet, so nobody can really hear it. So were all those songs written during the pandemic or before?
I'd say most of them were written during the pandemic.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So what are some of the themes of your music? This is the first album, right?
Yeah.
So what are some of the? I know you have some. I know you guys are go really deep in some of these.
Yeah.
A lot of some of them, for example, Underdog, even take the first single. I guess it's about the theme would be about re-empowerment of like feeling, I think empowerment of especially people who maybe have been through a hard time in whatever sense.
Oh yeah.
It could be,
Especially after the situation.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's almost like messages of hope and empowerment, and almost like, yes, suffering, and then kind of like that resurrection of like yourself to like be empowered. That could be with a relationship, that could be with in a world situation. Yeah, so a big one for me is just recovery in sense. And I don't mind sharing that I'm in recovery from various issues, mental health and addiction. And that was a theme to like bring me back to this point and actually get me back into music, is that. So I that can't help but come out in a lot of the lyric writing. And yeah, and there's also some situational stuff like just people going through various illnesses and how you cope with that. And yeah, that's part of it. So it's a lot of that empowerment, recovery kind of thing. Yeah, hope is a big one. Underdog specifically, I reference in the lyrics for anybody who's a Toronto Maple Leaf fan, which is our
Hockey team.
Our super duper NHL hockey team.
Oh yeah.
Always almost, they're great, and they've almost made it, and they've almost gone to the playoff finals. They get to the playoffs, they don't get it past the first round. So it's like I see them as the underdog. And I mentioned them because I mentioned the term 1967 in the song, and that's the last time they won the Stanley Cup. So it's like we're like waiting, and we're like, you know, so I think that hope that Toronto doesn't let go of the Leafs. I'll tell you that, no matter how bad or good they do, and they are like, so
These two are both religious.
Hockey is
Hockey.
Canada. Hockey.
Oh yeah. That's good. I mean, they got people that want to hear that kind. That's sports stuff. Yeah.
You know, but then we took the theme a little farther.
Yeah.
Okay, so during the pandemic, especially, you're stuck at home. You're playing music on live online. I mean, Dan and I are writing online, and Lucy and writing online. We're all stuck in our different countries when they closed the border. We couldn't even watch a hockey game on TV. There was no sports at all. Everything was shut down. So when they came back, it was
that. It was pretty tough over there. Yeah.
We had it pretty bad. We had it pretty bad.
A lot of lockdown.
Yeah,
like
we were
duper lockdown.
We were locked down. Like, so I remember
Almost like Australia.
Yes,
very
it
much.
was very similar. Yeah.
Similar, very similar.
You don't
So there was-
know, you don't know who's wrong. You don't know if it's the government or if the people, you don't know what to think, right? Like, it's the first time. Some countries did better than others, I guess, but
So,
yeah.
so are all you three the songwriters? Do you all share all that? Okay, okay, good. Oh, wow. All
Yeah.
right. Um, so how do you guys, so you guys, when you guys were writing, so Dan, you were in New Jersey, right, at the time? So you guys kind of sent stuff to the email?
Yeah.
Is that how? And then you just put the music, you just send music through the email.
Well, actually, it would be more, yes, but primarily we would get on Zoom.
Oh,
like-
okay.
We would, just like how we're doing this with you.
Yeah.
Had a guitar and I had a guitar, then I'd write something and then Steve would write something and then Lucy would write something and then we would all sort of powwow about it and then we'd make an audio file and then we'd send it to each other. And then after we
Yeah.
sent it to each other, we would sit and listen to what we did and see if it still got us excited. And if it did, then we'd keep working on it.
And there were definite meeting in person spots, New York, New Jersey, and Florida was a big one because right before the pandemic, in fact, like a month before the pandemic and everything shut down, we were in Florida. Dan's parents happened to have a home in Florida, in Naples, Florida, and we thought, hey, this is kind of cool. We could go there and jam out all these ideas we've been putting down. And Dan's like, yeah, let's do this. And he invited us down. And
So you guys all flew there? You guys all went there for part
Yeah.
of the.
Yeah, it
Okay.
was like kind of like a vacation because there was no pressure. We hadn't been a band together.
These were all the windows of all the times the pandemics were starting to get kind of like mild.
Oh yeah, all those fluctuations.
It was on the radar and we were reading about it in the news and stuff. We thought, well, you know what, let's go down for a vacation. Because we've been writing online together, right? I should also back up a bit. We were in New York in November prior to that, and Dan said there's a rehearsal space right in the city called Funkadelic Studios, and it's great because we can go downtown and have some fun, and we can go right into the space, right, literally in the city. Just walk in, they've got guitars, they've got everything. Let's just do a jam. So we jammed, it felt so good.
Yeah.
Then we came back, and then we started writing with files online. And then there was the break, like he had said, I'm going to come down here for a bit. Why don't you guys work your way down here? So yeah, it'd be nice. I've never been to Florida, so it'd be kind of nice to try it out. So we went into we were looking for a rehearsal space.
yeah, I was actually calling around saying, oh, we got while in Toronto, looking for rehearsal spaces in the area. And there were any, there were none. There were no rehearsal, like.
Oh, they probably closed, right? They were shut down too.
Not a lot of bands. If anything, there's a lot of solo artists, hip hop band.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I wouldn't say there's not. I wouldn't say that.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah. So it's just that just the way it's designed as a tourist area, like Fort Myers
Maybe.
and Naples, it's not really
yeah.
rehearsal spaces, and there are bands coming in, but for whatever reason, there's not a lot of. So and it could be economical. I'm not sure. So
And then I did, but one guy I called, he's like, well, what do you guys want to do? I said, well, we want to rehearse, we want to write songs. He goes, well, why don't you just record a record? I'm like,
So
what?
that's the other thing we wanted to talk about. The record kind of started its process by accident because what happened was we were trying to be prepared like most, we were producing ourselves and we wanted to take our time writing the music. So we thought, let's get together with these ideas. We've been file sharing and get together in a space and jam them out because we're a live band. That's usually the way we're accustomed. We usually take our processes and get them in and start working the arrangements in person and rehearsing, like, working on your parts through amps and that sort of thing. And so when she called, this
Well, he
fellow,
owned a studio.
this fellow named Drew Myers,
Yeah.
Drew Masters.
Drew Myers.
Drew Myers. What am I saying? God, Drew Howard. I apologize, Drew. I've got
from
Fort
Fort
Myers.
Myers.
I got Fort Myers on my brain. So Drew Howard, he basically was taking these calls and he said, look, why don't you come in and record? I've got a studio, Star Sound Studios, and if you need to rehearse, I could set it up as a rehearsal area and no pressure, but we can, I can just start recording if it works out. I was like, what do you think? So we kind of all talked about it. So let's give it a shot. So Drew was a lot of fun to work with and it worked out awesome. Good family vibe with us. And so we started in there doing pre-production with Drew and just getting
Wow.
some sounds. And we started getting lucky. In fact, Underdog started in there, and then we also had
Gator.
Gator, Blackmail was another one.
Oh yeah. Okay, so all of those songs are completed, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, all done. And so what happened was we got some of it done, and we're just learning how to work together. And of course, we're on our time limit. Like Lucy and I got to get back because we're on vacation and stuff. And so I thought, we don't have our instruments either. We had to fly in and just borrow gear. So we got as far as we could, and it was just a test run for all of us, and even including Drew. And he said, well, why don't we come back? And he said, I do live sound up in New York. Why don't I meet you up there and we'll cut vocals. And then we said, you know what, that's great. So why don't we, and Lucy said, why don't I break in my vocals? Why don't we play some shows? So we booked 2 shows in Toronto as a warm up. Dan came up to New York from New York, and we played. So we played two dates in Ontario, and one of the dates was kind of like a co-bill where another local band was saying, listen, let's do the show together. We're producing the show ourselves. So we have another friends from another band in England, and they're called Sulphur. And Rob used to play with us a long time ago as well in On. And it's because On's had various people over the years. And he lives in England now in his band. And we said, why don't you come over and just do a show? He's like, you know what, let's do it. So we all got together. We got friends from England playing on the gig. We got Dan coming in from New York. They've got three bands on this bill, all friends. And we played all the other bands were playing their different dates. We all convened in Toronto to play a date. The date we played was the day that the whole world shut down.
After that date.
For Canada, it was like they were shutting down.
Oh, that was like the first time?
Yeah,
March.
Oh, 2020?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, okay.
We
Oh my gosh.
So we played a club called Lee's Palace, and it was the last show. We believe it was the last show in Canada
For 2 years.
For 2 years.
Yeah.
We were the last ones. And of course, the show was what it was. People were panicking. A lot of people were staying at home. But the thing is, they were closing the border. So our friends we had to go back to England. Dan had to get back to New York. And then we were locked down for a long time. And
It's not easy being international members and during COVID.
Yeah.
It's real
so I try to speed up the process, but during the pandemic, the first wave, I mean, there's been so many, I can't even keep track. There was a 2 or 3, I think. When there was a break, we went back to Florida and recorded more material. And we were there again. We thought after this first pandemic, we've got to finish a record now. Now we're committed.
So you guys have this on vinyl, or is it a CD and vinyl?
It's coming out on CD and vinyl. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's going to be released, not yet, it's September, right?
September.
20.
September's going to be a digital release through our label, and then we're going to be putting out as physical copies, by demand. But we're looking into getting them ready for November. That's the other thing too. It takes a long time to get vinyl orders in. Sometimes there's a
That's true. I heard about that.
Yeah.
So what are some of your as a guitarist, as a vocalist, as a drummer, do you guys have an inspiration, a musical,
Heard that one.
a musician inspiration?
As a drummer, John Bonham's always like the primo one.
Oh yeah.
And then from there, I was a huge Genesis fan, so Phil Collins.
Oh, Phil Collins, yeah.
And
Good.
after that, I just started getting more into sort of session drummers. So people like Vinnie Caluda, Dennis Chambers, and then, probably like in my late teens and stuff, I was probably like into, early 20s, probably like Soundgarden, like Matt Cameron's drummer.
Oh wow, yeah, Soundgarden. How about you guys?
Lucy?
Okay, me, I guess looking at this 2 ways, because I mentioned the 60s as a songwriter, like for me, it was like the Beatles. The Beatles were probably when I was like little, hearing the Beatles, it just stuck in my head, and melodies because of their melodies. And in fact, I heard melodies.
Do you have a favorite Beatles?
Whoa. I mean, a favorite Beatle person, John Lennon.
Yeah. Oh, John Lennon. Yeah. Okay.
Not to put anything against anyone else in that band. Oh,
I think I like all 3 of them, but my favorite song by the Beatles is by George Harrison.
oh, which one?
While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Yes.
Oh,
But I like him too, but I think I like Paul McCartney and John Lennon particularly.
Well, like
Yeah.
those voices, just it's like
Yeah.
better together. It's amazing. So with them, as far as songwriting, as far as bass, I started, as I mentioned, with like the Doors, the Jimi Hendrix. I'm really into that, like kind of melodic. And then I played with the drummer in one of the bands who was really into funk. And at the time, I remember he introduced me to like Funkadelic and Parliament and all the, and then I saw Mark
Oh,
King
yeah.
from Level 42, who was like the slapping thing, and Flea. And I got into the slapping, I got into the funk thing, and I think that really improved my bass playing, because I'm focused on groove now. Groove is the most important thing for me. So as far as bass player, as a vocalist, I don't think I ever thought of myself as one, like I never wanted to be a vocalist, but I heard vocals and so I started singing. And I can say John Lennon for sure. I can say David Bowie. Female wise, people like Chrissy Hind for sure. Patti Smith. I like the more kind of just a little, not those like technically talented, amazing singers. It's more character singing that I like certain, like even Mick Jagger. It's not like he's a great vocalist at all, but he's got this character in his voice.
You know, a Stone song.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I really liked that element. And of course, just personality, like Kurt Cobain, like, yeah, that was like, it was authentic. Reminded me a lot of John Lennon, actually. So, yeah.
For myself, Jimi Hendrix, definitely. Big
Oh,
Jimi.
yeah. Oh yeah, one of the best ever.
Oh yeah, completely.
Yeah.
Um,
Definitely.
so it was for me, it was Jimi Hendrix. When I started picking up a guitar, hard rock and heavy metal were trying to make a resurgence, and so it was a great time to pick up the guitar. So Randy Rhoads from Ozzy Osbourne was a big one for me, and Eddie Van Halen, of course, and and I kind of dug a lot of the new wave writing. So I was kind of like a blend for me. I liked a lot of the styles of the different guitar players from sort of the underground garage and college bands. So I kind of liked songs, and I always liked bands who played for the song. But for me, I'd say for traditional influences, it was Jeff Beck, Jimmy Page, a little later.
Oh yeah. Jeff Beck and Jimmy Page are like one of the best too. I love them. Yeah,
Jimmy,
totally.
those are that's how I started. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So all you guys are the songwriters. I mean, and you're the only vocalist, or do you share the vocal?
That's a good question, because actually, like, as far as writing vocals, like we all do. I've gotten melodies from Dan and Steve and lyrics too. I'm going to say we're starting to get into like some co-singing, like Steve's doing some parts like along with the vocals.
Very basic. Yeah, I'm just learning how to sing.
Yeah. But generally,
baby steps.
Baby steps. Yeah.
I guess I would be the lead vocalist right now. And
Wow. So I know you guys have a single that's out. It's called Underdog, and that has been released already, which people can find it on your Bandcamp page.
Yep.
Is that where you can find that? Okay. And then
sorry. And then you can also find it on our two websites, onmusic.ca, or you can find it on our record label, which is Indiestructiblerecords.com. I'll spell that because it's got a word play on the spelling. It's INDIESTRUCTABLE records.com.
And I know you guys are starting your tour in about a few days, August 12th, right? To be exact.
13th, I think.
Yeah,
13th.
it's this Saturday actually.
Yeah.
Okay, this Saturday. And you guys are going to, I know you're starting up in Niagara Falls and then working your way all the way to London?
Yeah, so we're starting with Niagara Falls. We also have a date in Paris, Ontario. So it's kind of spread out. We do Niagara Falls, Paris, Ontario, and
Kingston,
Ottawa, London, and then
that's London, Ontario.
Yes, and then we go to
London, Ontario. Okay.
Sorry, we forgot. We said Toronto, of course.
Yes.
It's Kingston. That's right. It's kind of a blur. So we go Kingston, then Ottawa, then Toronto, and then we do Cambridge, Ontario, and then Hamilton, and then London. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then the album, which is, what is the title of the album?
It's just self-titled, just
Oh,
call it.
subtitle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, on?
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So that album will be coming out on September 16th.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Wow. All right. Well, that's, so, and then you'll be back from your tour at that point, right? Or you're still touring? Oh, you'll be back.
Yeah, so we're gonna be coming out and doing some more dates. So that's the other thing too, because of the pandemic. There's been a lot of ask for trying to get shows booked, and you know, the music world's just starting to come alive again. So
Oh.
there's a lot of bands looking for tours and stuff, and all the tours are hitting. So there's a lot of backlog of dates. So we're looking at doing another run of dates in October, and then we have a plan for late November to March. We're looking at trying to get into the US. We're looking at going back down to Florida, trying to get some shows in Florida and Texas, Nashville, Tennessee, and Georgia. We're looking at doing that. And at the present time too, we're also trying to plan a European tour, trying to get over to the UK if we can.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it looks like are you guys releasing another single before the actual album comes out, or no?
Yeah, we're looking at putting out a new single on the album. It's called Blackmail, a song called Blackmail.
Blackmail. Okay. Well, it looks like you got 10 tracks, and then it's going to be released September 20th. It's called On, O-N. And again, if people want to check that out, it's on your Bandcamp page and your website, which is onmusic.ca.
That's right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's correct.
All right. Anything else you want to add about anything else coming up besides the release and the concerts, the tour?
Yeah, so we've got a video out right now for Underdog. You can actually go to the you can actually go to it on YouTube. You can go to our socials in there and find it. It's listed under On Underdog. You can find it there. So that's out. And yeah, just to keep checking into the websites, we'll have updates there both for our tour dates and all of our socials. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, big shout out to Shameless Promotion PR, who's always doing a wonderful job, Shauna.
Yeah.
Yeah, doing great.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're really happy with working with her. She seems to be almost like a part of the band, you know. So it's just easy to
Oh,
work.
yeah. She's really good. Yeah. She's
Yeah.
very supportive. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you guys got in good hands, you know.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
you know, for
Lucky.
sure. Well, you know, thank you so much for joining me and you know, meeting you guys, and I'm so glad you guys are all together. I was thinking, I wonder how they're all going to connect. I was waiting for 2 more to come on when you guys were checking in. I go, oh well, Dan is really early. And then when I started hearing voices, I'm like, okay, I guess they're all here. That's cool. Yeah, so I'm glad you guys got.
Thank you so much, DJ Nocturne.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. And congratulations on your new album, and wish you all the best, you guys. And
Thank
maybe we'll meet up some in the future sometime.
Well,
Love to come there.
Well, that's the plan. I mean, we've already been asking. There's some guys playing us on the radio in Portland, and we were looking at maybe, you know what? Maybe we haven't been out the West Coast in quite a while. So if we do maybe California, then we can fly over and maybe
I think I have that song Underdog, and I have let's see, what's the other song I have? I think I have
Soul Killer or
Black-
Soul Killer.
Yeah, Soul Killer.
Yeah, I
Okay.
have that one. But that's not released yet, right?
No, that's okay. You can play it though.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, all right. And then let me know if there's another song you're releasing before the actual release date.
Sure. Blackmail. That's the main one. Yeah, that's coming out.
Okay.
I think that's coming out in August. It's soon, like next week. I
The
think it's
15th.
15th, August 15th. It comes out. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Well, yeah, if anybody want to check you guys out, onmusic.ca is the email, the website, and also your Bandcamp page.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for joining.
Okay,
Let me just shut this down. Thank you all. Let me
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks so much, DJ.